Here we are with today's report from March 7th, 2025. You can actually see that date right here. All right. So where are we at? We have a 755 on TransUnion. We have a 716 on Experian, and we have a 713 on Equifax. Yeah, that means 200 points per bureau in just 30 days. Why am I showing you this? Not only is it motivation for you to go out there and do what you're supposed to, especially now when the cards are stacked against us, even now with everything going on in the world, you can still remove your negative items. You have a process to dispute inaccurate information the right way. Gain that credit score and get the credit you need. This is without using the CFPB, without making BBB complaints, without doing the AG, but I am going to show you exactly how it was done. Let's take a look. There was nothing special about this credit report. All you're doing is using the information from the credit report to create your disputes. Not everyone is going to get results in 30 days like I do for some of my clients. When you do it the right way, you can remove the accounts or update them and get the results. But for you, it's going to take a little bit of time because I've been doing this for 15 years. Check out my channel. 10 years, over 2,000 videos, 40.8 thousand subscribers, and 3.5 million views. This is the exact reason why I've laid this out in such an easy format for you to learn and use on your own disputes. We have a simple formula. It's a JERO, action, justifier, element, reason, outcome. Here is an example dispute reason. Delete this account for inaccuracy because the date last active is inconsistent. Experian shows this date, Equifax shows that date, and TransUnion shows this date. For delete, you can say delete, remove, update, correct. This is where you're letting them know that action you want them to take. Now, it can be an account, personal information, inquiry, public record. This is the type of negative item you are disputing. For inaccuracy, for violation, because is the justifier. This is where you're giving them a reason to do what you said to do. And this is where you put the element, the date last active, the date last paid, comments, notice of dispute, balance, late payment, high balance, limit, open date, first day delinquency, etc. Now we're going to put the facts. The facts is what is going to separate your dispute from all of the millions of other disputes that they get. And this is per bureau per month, 1.5 million, okay? Yours need to stick out and give them a reason to remove it. Your dispute should include the facts directly from the credit report. My disputes not only include the facts, but also as much as possible, the credit report pages that prove my claim for inaccuracy. I actually call it exhibits. This is where we're going to put Experian shows this, Equifax shows that, or reports that, and TransUnion shows that, all from the credit report. When you put it together, you delete this account for accuracy because the date last active is XYZ. That is the formula. How do you know what to go after? We have a pyramid for dispute reasons. Some don't matter, and others are what I call smoking gun disputes, right? You're starting with your blatant inaccuracies and your violations, then your big bang disputes, then violation bingo, and then the evolution line where you're reusing things at the top of the hierarchy after they've changed, like either a date or other information. And then we have the dispute funnel, this, then that. And I have a ton of different videos that go into all of that, so we're not going to go over it. But this is what I used to get that client 200 points on their credit report. I disputed with the bureau's creditors and collectors. If you want to learn this entire process, use the phone number in the description, and you can text me, and it's just $2.99, and you can get access to all of the courses and apps. If you want to see if I can personally do it for you, go to my740.com, schedule a call, and I will see if I can help. Is it still possible in March of 2025, with everything going on in the world, to get results? Here's the proof my process works, and it can work for you too. Make sure to smash that subscribe if you haven't.
Today, we are once again talking about how to remove really difficult accounts like Capital One or anything where there's a bank involved. We are looking at a Capital One charge off. Everything is all over the place. We have different date last active. We have a different date last paid. We have a totally incongruent payment history. We are using the information that the credit bureaus, the creditors, the collectors are reporting themselves. And that is what we're using to support our argument, just as an attorney would in court to get our deletions. Let's start with the very first thing to remove this account. Take a look at the date last active right down here. We have 10/20/2019, 3/1/21, and 6/1/20. 3 different dates, 3 different years. This account will be removed 3 different times. The date last active determines when your account will fall off the credit report. If we have 3 different dates, then this is going to come off on 3 different years. That is going to be your biggest impact. That is your smoking gun, my friend. If that doesn't work, most of the time it's not going to when you're dealing with these very difficult accounts. Stop believing, just pausing right there, stop believing these people when they're telling you that it is as simple as sending out one round of disputes, because if it were like that, it wouldn't go on your credit report to begin with. If this information is from the same creditor, why do we have incongruent information? The first thing you can do is go back to the first late payment you see. They are not going to be able to legally verify a late payment without furnishing a copy of the bank's credit bank statement showing that you did or did not pay on time. Delete this account for inaccuracy and false reporting. Now, when it comes back and they say it's verified, look at the comment section right here. It's supposed to say disputed by consumer. The notice of dispute is required to be there within 30 days of your first dispute. If it's not, then violation. Pursuant to Section 623, they are required to put this notice of dispute. If they don't, that is it. If that doesn't work, you can say they have activity and reporting is activity after this account was closed. You can choose any other date here and ask for a deletion for inability to verify. Now, if they say it's verified, but they don't change this date, it means they verified without investigation. Otherwise, this date would have been updated to the date that they quote unquote verified the account. So you have so many things that you can go after. Don't bother saying, I don't owe $589. Don't go after the date opened. I don't care that we have different dates here. This is not going to remove the account. Don't go after them saying, I don't have a contract with you. You don't have my signature. That is not going to remove the account. I am showing you right now what needs to be used in your argument to get the account removed. If you use anything other than that, then you are running into the possibility or the probability that you're not going to be able to remove your account in any decent period of time. If you need help and want to see if I can do a credit sweep for you, use the link at the top of the window. Go to my740.com, schedule a call with me, and I will see if I can help. Otherwise, have a great day, great weekend, and see you later.
Is it really possible to jump 200 to 300 points in just a matter of days? I posted a video yesterday where I showed you guys it really is. And of course, there were naysayers. So today, we're jumping right into my free score now, right into their credit reports. And I've left the first name completely unhidden. So you can see this is literally the same. Let's go check this out. This client started on 3/4/2025. They had a 398, 416, and a 401. And then 3 days later on 3/7, well, let me just go show you their scores. 3/7/2025, as you can see, it is still the same client. 710 on TransUnion, 699 on Experian, and 703 on Equifax. And now they literally only have a couple accounts, of which 0 are derogatory and 0 inquiries. So yeah, is it possible? Absolutely, 100%. Let's go check out the other one. Number 2, 496, 448, 501. The date is 3/4/2025. Let's go check it out. Their first name is James, as you can see right here. Now, they have all these different derogatory accounts and closed accounts and all that kind of stuff. Let's go check out their new report. Now, we only have 2 accounts. They're not derogatory. There's only a $250 balance on all 3 bureaus. So, is it possible? Yes, it's possible. This is the report. Here's the proof. You know what I have to say about this? Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. You can't be doing the same thing for 15 years, 10 of which have been right here on YouTube with over 2,000 videos, hundreds of hours of my time given to you so you can prosper and remove negative items from your credit report. I deliver every single time. If you are looking for scores like this, although I can't guarantee them because that would obviously be illegal, head over to my740.com and I will see if I can help. But, I mean, hey, you can't argue with the proof.
I'm about to show you the easiest way to remove any charge-off from your credit report, and it's going to be the quickest. You want a fast way to remove charge-offs from your credit report? I'm going to show you the exact formula that I've used for my clients over. You're ready to remove those charge-offs permanently from your credit report, then watch this video until the end because I'm giving you the key to the credit sweep process. Pay attention. This is extremely simple. Now, here's the deal. We need to have very specific. If someone told you right now that you could remove all your negative items quickly, would you believe them? You probably wouldn't because you know this is a difficult process. But what if I gave you the key to this Today we're going over how to remove charge-offs from your credit report legally and quickly. Pay attention because we're going over how to remove charge-offs permanently and quickly. This is the key to removing anything from your credit report, specifically charge-offs. You could do it like I show you in this video, 0 to over 1.5 million in less than 11 months. How did we do it? Using this specific formula. And this is a formula I've used to remove over 50,000 negative items from my clients' credit reports. There's only a couple of parts to this formula, and we're going to take information from our credit report and plug it into this formula. If you are ready to remove any negative item from your credit report, specifically charge-offs, pay attention because I'm giving you the answer you've been waiting for. Make sure to like and subscribe so you too can increase your credit score and get that credit that you need and deserve, just like this client in 0 to over $1.5 million in approvals in less than 11 months. And if you're looking for proof credit sweeps work, welcome back to my channel. I am the queen of credit. My name is Kristen. We are going over how to remove charge-offs from your credit report. And I am giving you the actual answer and the key that I've been using for the last 12 years. You can see proof in the description. My name is Kristen. In this video, you're going to get not only the formula to remove charge-offs, but any negative item from your credit report. But I'm going to show you how to apply this to your specific credit report. And we're getting started right now. Smash that like, subscribe if you have not done so you don't miss any video that's going to show you how to increase your credit score and remove negative items. Let's get started. So we have our formula, and this can be used for any account. We have 5 parts. We have an action such as delete this account, this personal information, this bankruptcy, this inquiry for inaccuracy or violation because, and then you just tell them why. The date active report says these 3 different dates. The date last paid is illegally re-aged and reports these 3 dates. This notice of dispute was not entered, even though I disputed on X date, you received it on Y date, and it wasn't on credit report dated XYZ. So that's the gist. Many people have problems with charge-offs, and that's why we are specifically going over this. Yeah, you can remove, collections like medical, utility, apartments easily. Anybody can. But what about a $500,000 charge-off with American Express? Do you know how to do that? Probably not, because it's extremely difficult. But what if you had repeatable process for charge-offs and any other account? You could probably use it. Right? Right. That's exactly why we're going over this. There's 68 million people with bad credit. My job is to decrease that number and be part of the solution. So we have our impact levels. We're starting with charge-offs, and I'm going to show you where each type of goes in our dispute funnel. So let's go over and look at this. All right. So we're starting with charge-offs, and we're going over here. So you have a couple of different ways that you can approach this, right? So this would be factual, tactical, and by challenging, all right? And we're going to go quickly over this, but it's very straightforward. If we run factual, we have blatant inaccuracies, date last paid, notice of dispute, date last reported, or no investigation. There's a specific hierarchy. You can only use 1 dispute reason per account per letter and 1 to 10 accounts per letter. Why am I saying that? Because we want to flood the system to increase our violations, and we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. If we put all inaccuracies on 1 letter for 1 account, the likelihood that it's going to be deleted is not that great. If it comes back as verified, we cannot reuse a dispute reason. We're not going to get it removed because we used all our dispute reasons already. So this is the reason why we are limiting what we're saying on each dispute letter. Okay, so let's go and look at the next part. We have Joe the plumber, which is very simply just regular everyday person who just wants to fix their credit. We can do a factual follow-up. We can use the date updated or date last reported. We can use multi-letter shuffle, using different letters to remove accounts, and then go after violations. I call it violation bingo. Check out that video in the description. We're going to go factual, multi-letter shuffle, squeaky wheel, and repeat offense. Squeaky wheel is hitting them with everything we have coming at them from all sides. Bureaus, creditors, collectors, CFPB, AG, BBB, FTC complaints, bank complaints. We're not just depending on one entity. We're going after everybody, circling the enemy so they cannot escape. That's the squeaky wheel. Repeat offense means it's like violation bingo. We prove they failed to enter the notice of dispute, failed to update the date last reported, failed to respond. They are offenders. We can also do factual challenge. Open up your mind to these different ways to go after removing accounts. Why do we have so many different things we're going over? Because this is not simple. I get it. There's all these different people here on YouTube that tell you all you got to do is pay $40, buy one letter, and all your negative items are off. But you and I both know it doesn't work like that. You wouldn't be working part-time jobs if it were that easy. You work very hard for what you have. Hey, if it were as easy as that, I would sell it to you. I've been doing this for 12 years and there's no easy way, but I can make it easier by giving you a repeatable process. So when you go after a challenge, we could do something like investigation request, which goes to method of verification, FCRA requirements, no documentation to prove the account, and then creditor collector no response. Let me just give you an example. FCRA requirements, that's going to be, their failure to comply with federal law. Method of verification is trying to get how they actually verified. There's never an actual investigation. No docs would be they're reporting XYZ account, but no proof that account is owned by you or is your debt. And then creditor collector no response, that's where you are disputing with the bureaus and they're not responding, but keeping it on your credit report, or you've disputed with the bureaus and done secondary disputes with creditors and collectors, and that they are not responding. A secondary version of this would be FCRA requirements, independent investigation, and restatement and report. Okay, so how do we apply this? Well, I'm going to show you in just one second. Let's break this down so you can understand where each type of dispute reason falls on the Richter scale, how likely you are to get these things removed. The most powerful dispute reasons are date last paid, notice of dispute violation, and things like first date of delinquency. Now, under that, somewhere in the middle, we're going to have things like account activity after the account was closed, date last reported, lesser violations like monthly payment, high balance, balance and less accurate, the status update date, and limit type terms, open date, and not mine removes accounts about 2% of the time. This is why we don't use this. If you're using dispute reason at the bottom of the hierarchy, that is why you are not getting deletions. I'm going to show you a simple way to write a dispute letter to the credit bureaus for any negative account on a credit report. On the right, we have our dispute letter. On the left, we have our pyramid. You're using this to fill in your information. Your dispute is always going to be the same. If you know anything about sales, if you know who Jordan Belfort is, then you know a sale is always the same. He created the straight line system. A dispute is always going to be the same because all we're doing is filling in the information. Okay, so I'm going to show you how this works. On the right is our dispute letter, and on the left, we have our dispute elements. Your personal information goes at the top, followed by the date and then the recipient, such as the bureau, the creditor, collector. Then we have our why paragraph that tells them why we're writing that letter and what we want them to do. Ask for a new credit report to be sent. And then we have our account and our reasons. This part removes the accounts. The why paragraph does not include any laws unless they're attacking violations. Then we have a one-line closing. You might have things like enclosed, exhibits, stuff like that. Okay, so then now in our letter, our accounts and reasons follows a very specific process. We have creditor name, account number, and then our dispute reason, and that follows the Gero formula, just like I showed you. So all you're taking information from your credit report and plugging it into that dispute reason, okay? Our dispute reason is made up of, like I said, action, justifier, element, reason, and outcome. Each part has a specific process. And I'm going to give you an example. So if you look on the left, it says delete this charge off for inaccuracy because the date of last payment reports 1/2020 on Experian, 5/1/2021 on Equifax, and 8/15/19 on TransUnion. When we put it together, we get our full dispute reason. It can't be easier than that. Every account has the chance of removal if you do it correctly. If you take the information from your credit report and you plug it into this system, you are giving yourself the best possible opportunity to get it removed. Your dispute reason would look like this. Delete this account for inaccuracy or for violation because of XYZ. You have to notate why this account needs to be removed. If you don't do that, you have a very low possibility that you're going to get the account removed. And I do not want that to happen because you're writing the wrong thing. I have different examples. Delete this account for inaccuracy because the date last paid reports and the date and the bureaus. If we had a late payment, we would say the creditor name and account number. This late payment on August 1 is reported inaccurately and needs to be updated to paid on time. Or I did not pay late, remove this late payment for inaccuracy and update to paid never late. So you have a couple of different ways that you can go about this, but your dispute letter is going to be very simple and straightforward. We have our personal information, the date, the bureaus, even just a one-liner account, reasons, a one-line closing, thanks, and your name. We're not including laws. We're not including any of that. And if you use this formula, you are virtually guaranteed the best possible outcome that you could have without police reports, without affidavits, without any of that. If you are ready to remove negative items from your credit report, this is the way to do it. This is the only way I do it for my clients. This is the only way I've been doing it for years. And as you can see in my playlists, I get results because numbers don't lie. If you are ready, all the links are in the description. You can schedule a free discovery call with me to see if I can do the credit sweep for you or learn how to do this yourself with my course. It's called my credit sweep course, which is the credit repair course on steroids, which has my 12 years experience boxed into a course and delivered to you immediately accessible. And I even have the all-in-one crash course. If you want to brush up on tactics, go check the description or schedule a call with me. If you want to do this yourself, I have over 1,600 videos that show you the exact way to do this the right way. So thanks for watching. I appreciate your support and look forward to your comments on this video, letting me know how you have implemented these strategies, and I will see you next time. I'm going to explain how I was able to get this client a 200-point credit score increase on all 3 bureaus in 60 days. This one was actually 90 days. Why? 30-day prep, 60-day scores. What does that mean? Look at the very first thing at the top. Personal info disputes. And like I said, I'm going to explain how I did this and why it worked and why I did it. We're not going to go over all the parts because some of them are straightforward, like BBB complaints, AG complaints, CFPB complaints. The point is, the things that we are going to go over are very important. Personal info disputes can be done online. They can be done by mail. They can be done in, just a regular, simple letter like this. This is the type of letter that if you've been following my videos, you know that I write. Very simple, straight to the point. We're listing our names, addresses, whatever is inaccurate or you want them to remove. Use a simple letter like this. These are the names that are listed incorrectly. When I was fixing my credit, I had 28 addresses and I had to remove 26. The reason behind the personal info dispute is more important than how to dispute it. If you don't know, one of the ways that the credit bureaus will get rid of you quickly is by you submitting a dispute and them just verifying or doing a fake investigation just based off the fact that your account is attached to your personal information, right? When an account is added to your credit report, it's added with personal information like your name, your date of birth, your social, etc. With the negative ones, we need to remove that personal information that attaches you to the account and the geographical code that makes that happen. Sometimes you'll only need about 10 days. Other times you'll need more than that. But we did just a 10-day real hard one and done shot at it. I also submitted a CFPB complaint. He never lived at XYZ, added some privacy specific laws to the CFPB complaint, sent a copy to the bureaus with my letters, and that was that. Create and utilize a violation log with all proof. This can be as simple as an Excel spreadsheet, Google Sheets. Don't make this difficult. You need to know what was the violation, when did it occur, how did it occur, what law was violated, and save your attachments. This is extremely important because once you've exhausted all your remedies, you will need to go to the CFPB with all your proof. Then you'll be able to utilize that process. If you don't have the proof, you won't be able to do that. And with this one, because we actually started with this before we went to the bureaus, it worked out a long time ago. I actually used to do the debt validation before doing anything else. It depends on the file. You have bureaus, creditors, collectors. It's not just one thing. So here's the only thing that you need to understand about the debt validation process. There's 2 laws. This is for collections outside the statute of limitations or only third party. If you have debt within the statute of limitations, don't do it. You may get sued. I mean, a company that's going to sue you is going to sue you anyways, but still. FCRA section 623A3. We're not going to read this whole thing. Duty to provide notice of dispute. That's all we care about. This is the key for the collectors. It says FDCPA 807-8, including the failure to communicate that a disputed debt is disputed. How do you use these? We have letters for this. When you dispute something, it needs to be marked as disputed within 30 days. If they don't, it's $1,000 per occurrence. You do have to sue them. You do have to win, but we don't do any of that stuff. We just dispute directly with the collector using letter 1. If it doesn't work, we have letter 2. If that doesn't work, we have letter 3. But letter 1 worked for this client. So we did personal information and data furnisher disputes. Now, I didn't dispute directly with their creditors for their charge-offs because a lot were within the statute of limitations. I don't want anybody to be sued. So those were handled bureaus only. Now, what made this work was number 1, personal information. Number 2, that I attacked the data furnishers first. And it also works that I use many things. Okay. That's going to be disputing all negatives in all 3 bureaus all at the same time using custom factual disputes, Metro 2 challenges. Middle of month violation attacks and all that. My letters are very simple. We have the formula, action, justifier, element, reason, outcome. An example of it right here where it says account number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, delete for violation. This account has been illegally re-aged from original date to the current date. That's how I write all my disputes, telling them what I'm disputing, why I'm disputing it, and what I want them to do. We're doing all accounts disputed at the same time. All 3 bureaus disputed at the same time. And you can see the 19 steps to success. I use this every single time. Now, I know I told you about the formula I use, right? The Gerald formula, action, justifier, element, reason, outcome. I'm telling them what I'm disputing, why I'm disputing it, and what I want them to do. If you actually want results, there's a very specific process. Blatant inaccuracies, date last paid, notice of dispute, status, update date, depending on the data on your credit report, this can change. Payment history, first day of delinquency, comments such as the notice of dispute, monthly payment on a charge-off, high balance is lower than the balance, using the evolution line method, date less active. Date less active used to be my number 1. You have all of these things to dispute, and these are just 19 of them. This is the hierarchy. There's a whole flow for medical collections using the debt validation method. Inquiries disputed with the data furnisher and online only for inquiries and personal information. Do not dispute regular accounts online. For inquiries, it's straightforward. With the bureaus, you are just saying, I did not give permission. It does not meet the permissible purpose for pulling my credit or reporting on my credit report. That is it. 1 dispute reason per account per letter. Medical accounts, they can all go out in the same letter regardless of quantity. And do not dispute less than 30 days between letters unless doing a violation attack. This goes for late payments, charge-offs, third-party collections, debt buyer collections, bankruptcy, judgments, tax liens, student loans, foreclosures, repossessions, any negative item that's on your credit report. You can use this process to be able to do this. So this brings me to the very last part. How were we able to get a high credit score so quickly? It was using a combination of everything that we went over the last however long we have been recording. Okay. So that was by doing everything all at the same time, all of our prep work with personal information and our collector disputes, and it was attacking the violations and
It was being very specific in what we wanted to do, mostly because of the personal information and the formula. Remove all those negative items except for just a handful.
Today we are talking about how to remove difficult accounts like Capital One or anything where there's a bank involved. If you don't know how to dispute them correctly, then you're not going to be able to get them removed in a reasonable period of time. We are looking at a Capital One charge-off. We have different date last active. We have a different date last paid. We have a totally incongruent payment history. This is what factual based disputing is. We are using the information that they, the credit bureaus, the creditors, the collectors are reporting themselves, and that is what we're using to support our argument, just as an attorney would in court to get our deletions. Let's start with the very first thing that you would use to remove this account. Take a look at the date last active. 2019, 3/1/21, and 6/1/20. Those are 3 different dates. How can you have 3 different years in the date last active? This means that this account will naturally be removed 3 different times. The date last active is the date that determines when your account will naturally fall off the credit report. So if we have 3 different dates, then this is going to come off on 3 different years. That is your biggest impact. Stop believing these people when they're telling you that it is as simple as sending out 1 round of disputes, because if it were like that, it wouldn't go on your credit report to begin with. Go over into payment history. If this information is from the same creditor, which it is, then why do we have such incongruent information? Go back to the very first late payment that you see, and just because we're dealing with a 2-year payment history, we're going to choose August 2019. Say, hey, I paid on time. Because guess what? They are not going to be able to legally verify a late payment without furnishing a copy of the bank's credit, the bank statement showing that you did or did not pay on time. You can say, I paid on time on August 2019, delete this account. Don't say update, delete this account for inaccuracy and false reporting. When it comes back and they say, oh, it's verified, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? Look at the comment section. It's supposed to say disputed by consumer. The notice of dispute is required within 30 days of your first dispute. If it's not, guess what? Violation, okay? Pursuant to Section 623, they are required to put this notice of dispute. If that doesn't work, now you can go over here and you can say they have activity after this account was closed, assuming this account was charged off March 21. There shouldn't be anything after. If that doesn't work, start looking for violations. Why are they still reporting it when you already pointed out there is a violation? You can choose any other date and ask for deletion for inability to verify. You have a whole horde of things that you can work with. Now, if they say it's verified, but they don't change this date last reported, where it says 7/15/21, 7/15/21, and 7/1/21, then it means that they verified it without investigation, because otherwise this date would have been updated to the date that they quote unquote verified the account. Okay, so you have so many things that you can go after. Don't bother saying, I don't owe $589. Don't go after the date open. I don't care that we have different dates here. This is not going to remove the account. Don't go after them saying, hey, I don't have a contract with you. You don't have my signature. That is not going to remove the account. I am showing you right now what needs to be used to get the account removed. If you use anything other than that, then you are running into the possibility or the probability that you're not going to be able to remove your account in any decent period of time. Just so you know how you would remove portfolio recovery, Midland, second round, all of those, you are going to be looking for a limit, a past due, and payment history. Unless you physically paid them, there should not be any payment history. And then you would actually go after date last active and then go down the hierarchy. This is how I remove charge-offs. This is how my clients get their charge-offs and their repossessions and their foreclosures and their late payments removed. And it's all using the facts that they, the credit bureaus, the creditors, the collectors, whatever, are reporting directly on their credit report. That is called factual disputing. If you need my help and want a credit sweep, use the link that you can see right at the top of the window and go to my740.com, schedule a call with me, and I will see if I can help. How to remove late payments from your credit report and how to remove an account because of the late payments. Stay till the end, because not only am I going to give you the key to removing these, but exactly how to dispute them. If all the payment history matches up, everything outside of March and April is going to be considered inaccurate. This is false reporting. If this information is coming from the same creditor, the same data furnisher, how is it different? remove this account if we want to use the late payments to remove the entire account. However, if you want to dispute one late payment to update or to remove this one late payment, you're not going to use the word remove. Update this account to paid on time, never late. Now, we're going to do the same exact thing. If this doesn't work, we're going to hit them for the failure to enter the notice of dispute. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to do that. You may be thinking, how can they verify this is accurate when it's obviously not? We're looking at different information and these are facts. They do not want to remove this from your credit report. They want to keep you subprime. They want to keep your credit score lower because they make more money off of your lower score. Because the data furnisher, the creditor, can now charge you higher interest because of your lower score. They're going to pay more for that information. This is how you write your dispute reason. All you're doing is plugging the information into this dispute reason. Does that make sense? This is the reason why you are able to remove late payments from your credit report. A data furnisher giving you a copy of their bank statement proving when you did or did not pay late is hearsay. That is the key to understanding how to go after late payments. That is the reason why late payments can be removed. I'm going to show you how to remove a student loan from your credit report, and I'm going to give you the secret to getting those 90-day late payments off your credit report. The only way to legally verify late payments is for them to furnish bank statement copies. They're not going to do that. So make sure you stay to the end so that you can learn not only how to remove student loans, but also how to remove late payments, write a dispute reason for a student loan, write a dispute letter, and choose a dispute method. Student loans can be impossible to remove. If they're not done the right way, it may not happen. We're going over my student loan mini course. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so, and you can use that link at the top of your screen to schedule a call. Let's get to the student loan mini course. You may be wondering why these accounts report 90 to 120 day late payments without prior late payments. Some creditors do not report a consumer as late until they're 90 days late. The payment history is inaccurate. If it's 90, it's missing 30 or 60. The secret to removing these late payments or removing the entire account. The payment history is not accurate if it shows, 120 because it's missing 30 through 120 days late. The payment history should report as 30, 60, 90. If the account was reported as OK 90, the two OK payments are inaccurate. You can use this to update the account to reflect. I've encountered 2 times in 7 years where the bureaus updated the account to reflect the true late payments. The logic is just because you do not report the consumer as late until 90 days, it doesn't mean it's accurate per FCRA regulations. The payment history should reflect 0 late payments. Write your dispute reasons, right? Navian account number, and here's your reason. If you want to update that account and say, remove the late payment history for inaccuracy because I paid on time. Delete this account, shows 90 days late without prior 30 or 60 day late payments. I was not late. Delete this account for inaccuracy. Delete this account because all 3 bureaus report different payment history. Delete this account for violation because the notice of dispute was not entered within the required 30-day time frame. The collection as a charge-off. If you have U.S. Department of Education collection dispute using the pyramid method, date less active, date less paid, payment history, notice of dispute, activity after close date, etc. For disputing late payments, dispute the date of first delinquency, activity after close date, inconsistent late payments between all 3 bureaus, and violations. Notice of dispute, failure to report accurate late payment history after notification of inaccuracy, account activity after it was closed. And now there is this video 2 minutes and 53 seconds that will show you specifically on a credit report what you should be looking for and how to handle it. You can access this by going to vault.my740.com and go to the mini course for student loans. What do you do when the bureaus verify these accounts as accurate? Many consumers give up instead of using a new dispute reason. You need to understand that the bureaus are there to get you to stop disputing by frustrating, stalling, scaring you, and by using their #1 method, which also happens to be free. It's ignoring you, right? So your accounts are going to be verified as accurate until they're removed. This means that when they tell you they didn't understand the nature of your dispute, you didn't submit identification that was clearly submitted with the dispute letter, and they tell you that they're not going to reinvestigate without new information, there's only one thing to do. Find the next best dispute reason using the pyramid method and send in a new dispute. As long as you're using factual disputes, submit 1 reason per account per letter and remain patient, you'll remove or correct the account if possible. Some accounts cannot come off. There's no way to force them, even if you take them to court. And use what you have available to achieve the best results. This is how you write a dispute letter for student loans. Include required information to ensure an investigation that results in a correction or deletion. Keep in mind that the bureaus have one job: reject, deny, frustrate. Disputing difficult accounts like student loans, remember that there will be multiple rounds of disputes and there's no shortcut to getting permanent results. Tell them why you're sending this letter, what you want them to do, and ask for a new credit report. Example: I got in a car accident and need to replace my vehicle. When I pulled my credit report, I noticed inaccurate information that would keep me from getting the best interest rate. I need a working car. Please send me a new credit report reflecting these changes. The key to removing your account has nothing to do with the text body and everything to do with the dispute reasons listed: account, navigant, account number, blah, blah, blah. The late payment history shows a 90-day late payment, but no 30 or 60-day late payment exists prior. Please remove this inaccurate late payment of 90 days on 8/2018. Creditor name and account number, such as Capital One 517805 or navigant. Dispute reason formula: action, justifier, reason, element, outcome. Action: delete, remove, correct, update. Delete this account because the date last active shows 3 different dates on each bureau. Or correct the late payments because I was not 90 days late on 2/2018, and update to never late. Thank you for your attention. It is not advisable to dispute more than 6 late payments for correction because the likelihood is slim. Determine if deleting the account or leaving it on the credit report because of its age would be best. If you want a credit sweep, go to my740.com. If you have questions, post in the comments. I was able to remove 250 collections from this client's credit report in just 60 days. And a lot of people, number one, don't believe it. And number two, have no idea what the method was that I used. And that's exactly what we're going to go over in this. We're dealing with 2 very specific laws, as you can see on your screen: FCRA 623A3 and FDCPA 8078. That's these 2 right here. Now, we're going to go over just this part right here, but there's something very specific that you need to see on here. And I'm going to show you part 1 and part 3 dispute letters in just a moment. So make sure that you stick around until the end so you know exactly how to do this. You see, it says that anytime a consumer disputes with the data furnisher, they are required to notify the credit bureaus that the account is in dispute. It says responsibilities of furnishers of information to consumer reporting agencies. Duty to provide notice of dispute if the completeness or the accuracy of any information furnished by any person to any consumer reporting agency is disputed to such person by a consumer, the person may not furnish. Listen right here. This is the magic. The person may not furnish this information to any consumer reporting agency without the notice that it has been disputed. Now, here's the thing though. You need to be able to prove that you actually disputed it. So it needs to go out certified. And you're going to want to check out the short that I have linked down in the description from last night that explains exactly why. So you need to have your credit reports. You need to have your dispute letters. You need to be able to prove that you actually sent and it was received. So that's the certified mail. And the magic is it cannot report without this. But there's a couple of things that you need to know, like the timing. What is the timing? It's 30 days. That notice after dispute, after they receive your dispute, must be on there within 30 days. Not 60, not 45, not 120, not a year later, but within 30 days. If it is not there when you pull your new report on that 31st day, then now they are in violation of FCRA 623 and 8078 of the FDCPA. Why? Because 8078 of the FDCPA says exactly the same thing right here. Communicating or threatening to communicate to any person credit information which is known or which should be known to be false, including the failure to communicate that a disputed debt is disputed. So the bottom line here, my friend, is that it cannot report unless there is the notice that it has been disputed. And it'll say something super, super simple, like consumer disputes this debt, consumer disputes this account disputed by consumer. It doesn't matter what it says or how it says it, but that notice must be on there in the comment section within 30 days from the date that they receive your certified mail. Now, if you're not sending out certified, you need to start because there's no way for you to prove that they received that dispute letter that you sent. They can say, hey, we didn't receive it, and so therefore we're not in violation. But when you have that certified mail, you are able to prove, yes, you got it, and no, you didn't put it on there because here's my first credit report, here's my dispute letter, here's my certified mail, and here is my new credit report on the 31st day after you received that, and it is not there. This is my smoking gun dispute letter. I'm not going to tell you how to dispute your accounts. I have many other videos. This is how to write your smoking gun dispute letter. It is straightforward. Have your name, address, date of birth, social at the top. Have today's date. Don't backdate, okay? It's going to go based off of when they received your dispute. It is not going to go based off of when you dated your letter, all right? You're going to have the credit bureau's name and address. We have 3 parts to this. Besides your name at the end, we have our why paragraph. We have our what as far as what we're disputing, and we have a closing. That's it. You don't see where it says enter this law and state this. No. We're not doing that. That's not how you remove negative items. And how can I say that? It's because men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. I have a whole playlist that shows you that I increase credit scores hundreds of points. I remove hundreds of negative items from credit reports. And that's because it's a simple, specific process. And it's not by sending out 4 pages of law heavy disputes. Your why paragraph has 3 parts. The reason you're writing the letter, 1 sentence. I'm writing this dispute to you because of XYZ. I pulled my credit report and I see inaccuracies. I'm getting a job and you have my personal information incorrect. Whatever it is, it's 1 sentence. The second thing is what you want them to do. Investigate inaccuracies, delete false information, etc. No more than 2 sentences, and then request a new credit report. This part is key to removing negative items. Your what you're disputing. It has 3 parts. Creditor name, account number, and the reason for your dispute. An example would be delete for violation because the date last paid was reaged and reports as this on Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Those would have different dates. Do this for every account. You don't have to send them in batches, 1, 2, 3 accounts, at most. No, you're going to do them all at once. I don't care if you have 144 medical accounts or collections or charge-offs. They can all go in the same letter. Normally, I say no more than 10 accounts per letter to bog down the system. If you have 20 accounts, send out 2 letters. You're going to have 2 letters for Equifax, 2 letters for TransUnion, 2 letters for Experian. You send them out on different dates, okay? But we're not trying to make this complicated. We're not trying to talk about formulas and different structures. Put your accounts on here and they have 3 different parts to it. The very last part is your 1-line closing. Thanks in advance for your expedited resolution. Please send me a new credit report, XYZ. Your name, no signature. 1 optional part enclosed, exhibits or identification, CFPB complaint, whatever you're including, okay? If you can print it this way, page 1 on the front is your accounts, your letter. On the back, you're going to put your identification and your exhibits, all right? This way, the credit bureaus cannot say, we got your letter, but we didn't get your identification. Yeah, you did. You scanned both sides and you got my identification. All right. So if you don't have anything included in this other than your identification, then you don't have to put that on there. Okay. This is simple. It is straightforward and this works. You can walk away from this video and implement these things today and send out your disputes tomorrow. Speaking of which, we have the course. If you want to learn how to remove these things permanently from your credit report, this is the way to do it. You can access this right now. Today is October 21st. You can get it October 21st and October 22nd for $169. After that, it is going to $299. There's no reason why you should pay that if you've seen this video prior to that date. If you want to remove these legally, permanently, get the best possible strategies, things that people are not using. You want a couple different apps to know how to increase your credit scores and move on with your life. It's very simple. The link is on your screen and that is it. So you got access to the most effective dispute letter training and the smoking gun letter. If you want to see if I can do this for you instead of you doing it yourself, it's very simple. My740.com. That link is on your screen right now. The way that it works is you schedule a call with me to see if I can do a credit sweep for you. If I can offer services to you, I will. If I can't, I will recommend something. It is as simple as that. All right. So I will see you tomorrow. I will see you next time. If you want to access the most effective dispute letter training as well as the smoking gun dispute letter, then that link is going to be down in the description. Have a great day. 250 collections removed from this client's credit report in just 60 days. Was it magic? No, it wasn't magic. There was a specific method that I used, and it's called the Guaranteed Deletion Debt Validation Dispute Method, and you can access that link down in the description in FCRA 623A3 and FDCPA 8078. You see, It says that anytime a consumer disputes with the data furnisher, they are required to notify the credit bureaus that the account is in dispute. It says responsibilities of furnishers of information to consumer reporting agencies. Duty to provide notice of dispute if the completeness or the accuracy of any information furnished by any person to any consumer reporting agency is disputed to such person by a consumer, the person may not furnish. Listen right here. This is the magic. The person may not furnish this information to any consumer reporting agency without the notice that it has been disputed. There's a couple of things that you need to know, like the timing. What is the timing? It's 30 days. That notice after dispute, after they receive your dispute, must be on there within 30 days. Not 60, not 45, not 120, not a year later, but within 30 days. If it is not there when you pull your new report on that 31st day, then now they are in violation of FCRA 623 and 8078 of the FDCPA. Why? Because 8078 of the FDCPA says exactly the same thing, right? Today, I'm going to show you how to write your dispute letter using EOSCAR codes. This is so that you can increase your results and your credit scores in as little time as possible. But to do that, we need to understand how this process works. Your full dispute does not get sent over. Much of the data surrounding the consumer's original complaint is lost. You send your letter, it gets converted into one of these 29 dispute codes, and then it gets sent over to the data furnisher. And here are these codes, and you can go down into the description and click on the link and check this out yourself. It's very straightforward. But here is the problem. A mischaracterized complaint can drag out the time to fix an error on a consumer's credit report. This is already a long, complicated information important to a dispute does not always follow through the investigation process because the whole thing doesn't get over. Here's the biggest part. A congressional report in 2007 found that EOSCAR reports use the same 4 dispute codes over 90% of the time, calling into question the value of these 29 codes. That same report found that through the EOSCAR system, credit reporting bureaus never actually investigate disputes, instead putting it over the data furnishers on their side, the same exact repeat dispute. You cannot do that. Let's match what I've written on the right. Your personal information, date, bureau, remove, update the following inaccuracies on my report. 5 accounts. Account 1, remove due to inaccuracy in dates of last payment. I am referencing 105, and you're not going to put the numbers on there. I put them on here so you can see disputes, date of last payment. Account number 2, update for inaccurate information in the date less paid, blah, blah, blah. And this is 112, claims inaccurate information. Next one, remove because account included in bankruptcy, looking at 37, account included in bankruptcy. Number 4, stop reporting this account due to identity fraud. 103, claims identity fraud. You see how I'm using words directly from the EOSCAR codes? It's very important so they can match to the proper code. Account number 5, remove authorized user because I am not liable for this account. Send me a new report reflecting these changes. That's it. That is the entire dispute. If you want to take a straightforward approach and strategy to writing your disputes to get results, then maybe this is something that you want to try, and post down in the comments how it works for you so we can find out together. Smash that like if you found value in this video, subscribe if you haven't, and schedule a call with me at my740.com if you don't want to do or don't have the time to do, or you want to get the best results. All right. So I will see you later. Have a great day. Bye.